Hey everyone! Well, we're here, we're back, and today we're doing another anti-MLM video, and for this video we will be talking about It Works. The video we will be watching today is a team call where the host is talking about goals. Now, of course, having goals, dreams, aspirations in your life is a good thing, and it can help you be motivated and excited for the future. But in an MLM, they talk about goals, dreams, aspirations all the time in order to keep the individual in the MLM focused on that and focused on that a lot. They talk about it a lot. We hear always have a why. Your why has to be bigger than life, and they want you to always remember your why, because in the hard times, so the times where you step back and you're like, I'm not really making any money in this business, in fact I'm losing money, maybe I shouldn't be in this MLM anymore, they will say, well, remember your why. Remember why you did this. And continuously reminding people of their why, of their goals, keeps them in the MLM, which keeps them putting money into the MLM, and of course keeps them a number in the downline so that people continuously make money on the downline and probably maintain rank as well. I also hope you guys really like this background. I really like it. I really liked setting it up, and I set it up yesterday and I had it on at night, and it just was so comforting and made me so happy. So hopefully this makes you guys just a little bit happy looking at it in the background while we watch this video. So if you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you really like it, please subscribe. Make sure to check out my description below for all of my fun links. I have links to my Patreon, my channel members, my social media accounts, my anti-MLM playlist, and I have an email address that if you ever run across some hun doing something interesting or commenting about anything that sounds like something you would like me to react to, I have an email below that you can send that to. And with all of that said, let's get started.
All right, you guys, I'm super excited to do the Zoom with you tonight. I want to talk about setting goals, why that's important, and then making the decision to make those goals happen and how to actually fulfill the goals. So first thing I want to do is set those goals, figure out what they are. So the first thing I want you to do, I want this to be like a speed round. And I want your homework to be to double or triple this list later on. But speed round, I want you guys to either in your notes, on a notebook, or whatever, I want you to write down 10 long-term dreams you have that you would love if you could accomplish in the next 10 years. So for me, that's buy a lakefront house, pay off Matthew's student loans, have 3 to 5 rental properties, things like that. So what are some big goals that kind of scare you, but you're like, well, if I was your fairy godmother and I could wave a magical wand to make any of your dreams come true in the next 10 years, what would those look like? So write them down, put them in your notes, whatever you want to do, and then put done in the chat when you're done. And then later on tonight, I want you to go back and I want you to make that list 20 to 40 things.
That is so many things to want in a 10-year period. I understand 5 to 6 big life goals, but 20 to 40 life goals, at a certain point, when you're at thing number 35, you're like, oh my god, I just would want to be done with writing goals. That would end up being a goal of mine if I had to do that.
Quick, think of 5 to 10 things that you can think of right now that it would be really cool to have done in the next 10 years. Sorry, it's quiet. I don't want to put music on because then I won't be able to put it up on YouTube. So
yes, you could. You could be playing royalty-free music in the background. You could be playing any music, you just wouldn't be able to monetize the video. Just because you have copyrighted music in the video doesn't mean that you still cannot post it to YouTube. I don't know if she knows that though, and maybe she's trying to just build up her YouTube channel in order to one day make money off of it. But yeah, you can have music in the video. She could have been playing copyrighted music. Like I said, there is so much of it on YouTube. But yeah, you can easily post videos on YouTube even with having music in the video.
Go with the silence. I'm going to give you guys like 2 more minutes. If it's not done, we will move on. Okay, a few of you messaged me saying you were done. So if you're not done, finish working on that. But I just wanted you guys to just get thinking bigger for a second, because sometimes it's easier to think of big goals if they're like super far in the distance, right? Like it's harder to say, oh, I want to get this done in the next 10 days. But if it's like, oh, what do you want to get done in the next 10 years? If I could wave a magical wand, it's a little bit easier. So I want to talk.
Why does she keep saying, if I could wave a magical wand? That, like, you don't have to have a fairy godmother in order to achieve your goals or make, a big dream of yours come true. Like, it just has to be certain things put in place, or it just requires time sometimes for certain goals to be accomplished, like buying a house or a car or going on a certain vacation. Like, just a lot of that has to do with, like, saving up money for those things. It doesn't require a fairy godmother, but I guess in an MLM it kind of does. Like, you do have to be blessed by the fairy godmother, MLM fairy, in order to see any sort of success.
About setting goals for the next, like by the end of the year, the next 6 months, and then like a year from now. Okay. So when setting goals, and you guys, this is something that you're going to have to think about. I don't want you to have this done right now, but I want you to, in the next couple days, figure out what your goals are for the end of the year, the next 6 months, and a year from now. When you're thinking of goals, I want you guys to, this is something Corbrett's been talking about, and I was talking to Lanisa about it, is setting what's called SMART goals. Okay. So S stands for specific. Okay. So what exactly do you want to accomplish? What is that goal? Okay. Make sure that it's measurable. That's what M is for. How will you know when you meet that goal? Right. A stands for attainable. Is it possible to meet that goal with extra effort by the time that you want to? R, is it relevant? Is it even worth working hard to accomplish that goal? Okay. And then T, is it timely? What is the deadline to meet your goal? Okay. So that can be a specific, like, amount of income that you want to earn by the end of the year, or a specific rank, or pay off a certain amount of debt, or whatever, a certain amount of tier 1s or tier 2s or Christmas cash, or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Set those goals for the end of the year, 6 months, and then a year from now. And I hope you guys are taking notes, because I did a couple of things that I just wanted to research for you guys and just make it easier, because I think sometimes setting goals is hard. So for each of your goals that you set for the end of the year, 6 months, and a year from now, I want to work on a couple of things for each of them.
At the very beginning of this, she told them to write down 5 to 10 goals that they want to achieve in 10 years, but now she's talking about end of the year, 6 months, and 1 year. So was it just to get them into the mindset of being goal-oriented, and that, hey, remember those big goals that you want? Now you have to focus on these small goals in order to achieve those big goals that your fairy godmother could give you. So is it like a mind game? Because that's kind of what I'm getting at.
So start with the end of the year, right? And then once you're done with that, later on, you can do the 6 month and year from now goals. But I want you to figure out these things, and I want you to write them down. And this is recorded, like I said, so it will be up on my YouTube. First thing I want you to write down is, this goal is important to me because blank. Why is this goal important? Okay, because you can't just say, oh, I want to make $3,000 by the end of the year. Okay, well, why is that important? What's that $3,000 going to do for you? What's that going to pay for? What is that going to feel like? Not just because.
I get, like, obviously if you want to make X amount, like, you kind of already know why you want to make that much. But of course, when you tie something important to it, then you are more likely to focus on the why than the reason of, I just want to make money. It really is like, when you go into a job, you are going in there because you want to make money, because you want money. It's that simple. And, any job interview, they've asked me, like, why do you want to work here? And I just said, because I want money, because I got to pay my bills. Like, it could be as basic as that. There doesn't have to be this grand thing of why I want to work for this company and you guys are the reasons that my dreams can become a reality. Like, you don't have to go that deep. It's not always that deep. Sometimes something as simple as I just would like to have money is as simple as it needs to be.
I want to. Why is it important? Okay. Then I want you to write down what are some things that you're good at that are going to help you achieve the goal. So if you're good at, you're like, oh, I'm really, really consistent. That can be something you're really good at. Or I'm really good at posting or talking on my stories or being positive or whatever. What are some things that you're good at to help you towards that goal? And then the next thing I want you to do is I want you to figure out what are some obstacles that you're going to have trying to hit that goal.
People saying yes, people agreeing to buy these products or join up underneath you, just people even talking to you and listening to you that aren't just friends and family because you've exhausted those or because you may not have that many friends and family, so you have to start reaching out to strangers, and if strangers don't respond to you and strangers don't say yes, then you're not going to ever achieve these goals, and that's not your fault, that's not you, you're not a failure. It's just people don't want to join this business structure for one reason or the other because it's a horrible business structure.
So maybe that's the opposite. Maybe you're not consistent. Maybe post to post is really hard for you. Maybe you've never done reels, but you want to, or maybe you're really bad at follow-ups, whatever it is. Okay. And then for each of your obstacles, I want you to figure out how you're going to combat those obstacles. Because if you know they're going to happen, then it's easier to plan for what to do around them. Okay. So for each of the goals, why is it important? What are things that are going to about you that will help you reach the goal? What are obstacles that are going to make it more difficult? And then how are you going to combat those obstacles? What are you going to do to fix them? Okay.
This seems like a lot of writing and a lot of essay assignment to just be like, hey, get out there and get people to sign up and make sales. I mean, it really is just that simple. Like, get out there and be a salesperson. You love the product so much, it should come naturally. This product sells itself, but yeah, you have all these obstacles in your way, and it's not you. It's not the fact that you didn't post on your stories 10 times. It's not because you didn't post 800 reels. It's not because you didn't, talk in the Facebook group and congratulate everyone that ranked up before you. None of that has anything to do on if you are making money in the MLM.
So I want to talk about some things that you can do besides all that goal setting. And does anyone have any questions about that before I move on? No. Okay. I want to talk about some things that you can do to make that decision count. Okay. So many times in this business, we make these goals, right? I remember, and I am guilty of this every year on January 1st, everyone's like, oh, what's your goal for the year? And I'm like, triple diamond. But I truly don't think I have ever truly made the decision to make it happen. Has anyone put a 1 in the chat if you've heard someone say on a Zoom, like, oh, you just have to make the decision to make it happen? And you're like, great, well, I've like decided to make go Ruby or to make $1,000 or whatever, right? It's something that people say all the time is, oh, you just have to make a decision to make it happen. And that used to make me so freaking mad. Anyone else get mad when people say that? Because I'm like, what do you mean? I just flip a switch in my head and then it just happens. Right? Like I'm just magical. Like, what do you mean?
She's the fairy godmother.
Just make a decision. But what I think that means, my perspective of that is that you are making a decision that you're not going to let anything stop you. That you're not going to get discouraged after a month or two of going towards that goal when it's not coming together, or you're not going to give up on yourself on when you wake up on a Tuesday morning and you don't feel like working, right? So it's making.
In any other context besides an MLM, that advice is actually really good. Is that sometimes when you want something to happen, it really does have to click sometimes in order for it to happen, and like, that is different for everybody, and everybody has different things of what makes it click. that can, and it works across any areas of life, not just in like a business sense. But in an MLM sense, you can be sitting there wanting it to click and saying it's clicking. But again, if you are just putting more money into this business and nobody's signing up and nobody's buying, and you are putting hours and hours and hours of time trying to make this work, and you're getting nothing in return, then the click should be, maybe I should get out of this. That's the click that needs to happen in an MLM. It's like, I'm not seeing the success I want, my goals are not being obtained, and I've been doing this for 6 months and I've only lost money. Let it click. Let everything that is screaming at you to stop, let that click. That's the click that needs to happen.
That decision, yes, that first time, like right now, whatever you made that decision for your goal is, but it's also making that decision day in and day out to make that goal happen. So it's making that decision tomorrow when you want to sit and watch Netflix, it's making the decision to work instead, or it's making the decision to, instead of going out to dinner, telling your husband like, hey, I'm going to get this work done. And if I get it done in time, we'll do dinner. Otherwise, let's do dinner at home and we'll go out for drinks or whatever, right? So it's just making the decision to put that goal ahead of everything that you want to do right now. And the reason I say that is because I have never truly done that with going triple diamond. And that's why I've never hit triple diamond. But
let's look at the income disclosure statement just to see where triple diamond is on the chart. All right, so we have It Works 2021 income disclosure statement, and it looks like triple diamond, wow, surprise, surprise, is less than 1% of the company. No wonder it is that hard to achieve. Now, I believe she is double diamond if she's talking about even wanting to go triple diamond, which means she's in 1% of the company, which is still extremely impressive, and it happens to a very, very small group of people, 1% of them. But to want to get to less than 1% of the company, that has to be so, so difficult. And as we can see, majority of people are at the distributor rank at about 80% of the entire company, and then the next highest rank is less than 10%. It Works has some awful, awful numbers, and clearly it is very, very, very difficult for people to achieve these goals, these really huge goals that they want them to have, that are probably like getting out of debt, buying a car, buying a house, retiring their husband. I hate that term, but just looking at this, it is not the individual just not trying hard enough. I mean, even looking at the months it takes to get these ranks, I mean, it says that it can take about almost 2 years just to achieve the rank of double diamond, which is 1.6% of the company. And that is a maybe. That's a very rare case of people that do it, and it's not because all the people that decided to leave beforehand didn't try hard enough. I guarantee they did try hard enough, but they just didn't have 2 years to be investing constant money and constant time into something that they see they're not getting that same energy back. When you put so much energy towards something, at a certain point, after, I think 6 months is realistic, even 3 months, with all the things they have in place and all of the training and all of the tools, they have everything in place, right? It should only take people realistically like 3 months to see at least something pretty good, but it takes people 2 years to see something that is life-changing, whatever that is for a lot of people. And just looking, I mean, the most people in It Works, they average $57 a month. That is nothing. That's not anything. And then the next rank is $277 a month. Is that nice? Yeah, but you also have to account all the things that they are purchasing each month in order to show it off on Instagram, show they're using the product. Those gummies or the teas or the coffee. It Works really bothers me because their whole thing is skinny. It's skinny. They're just like, you're fat, drink this skinny thing to look better. It's just the health-related MLMs are all about being skinny and being thinner and how that's clearly better, and you'd look so much better if you lost this weight, and if you were skinny and you can lose it so quickly in 2 weeks, 3 months, whatever. It's like, it just isn't realistic, and they take advantage of people who want to lose weight and it's just so wrong. And I say health, of course with asterisks, because it's not about the health. They are taking advantage of people, because when it comes to weight, that is a big thing that people focus on, and people want to lose weight if they feel that they are overweight, or they feel that they want to lose weight for themselves to feel healthier. And then people in MLMs take advantage of that. They do. But they're overpriced products that don't work, or they can find cheaper elsewhere, or they can find free workout classes online. They take advantage of people looking for a change, and it's wrong.
I remember when I was pushing to double, and when I was getting my husband's account to double, I said no to things that I wanted to do because I wanted to be double, or I wanted him to be double so much more, right? So I said no to, oh, we're not going to go out on a date tonight, or we're not going to go do this or do that, because I wanted to be double. So I made that decision day in and day out to put more effort in, to put my business ahead of other things that I'd normally do. And the other thing that comes with making that decision is,
but how is that the time freedom? When you have to say no to things that you want to do, or things that your husband wants to do with you, how is that time freedom? How is that you are your own boss babe who can run your own hours and do things that you want, but yet you are turning down the things that you either typically do or things that you want to do in order to sit on your phone and message people about this great opportunity?
is how many of you, put a 2 in the chat if you have a daily list, right? And on that list, if you have a specific number of either post to post or conversations you want to have, or new potentials, or whatever. Does anyone have that, like those, like where you have like a number, right? So making this decision, it is deciding that like you're not going to let yourself off the hook, because so many times we put a 3 in the chat. If you're like, my goal is 10 host posts a day, but then it hits like 10:30 p.m. and you're like, well, I have 6. So I guess 6 is fine, right? Like you get to this point where you just like hit a wall and you're like, that's it for today. When you make the decision to make your goals happen, you don't stop there. You just keep going, and you keep going, and you keep going. I remember there were nights when I was going double diamond that I literally did not go to bed until 2 a.m. Literally, because I was not going to bed until I hit my goal every single day. Now, my goal back then was excessive, and it was a lot. It was very stressful. But my goal was I was going to enroll someone, whether it's a customer or distributor, every single day. And I did. But it was very, very hard. It was very, very difficult. But you have to make a decision and make it rock solid that you're going to do whatever it takes to get there. Because at the end of it, when you do hit that goal, you're going to look back and be like, man, that was so freaking worth it. It was so, so worth it. So some things that you can do to help with that is, 1, you can get your family involved. Okay. I want you to figure out whatever your goal is. And if you know already what your goal for the end of the year is, please put it in the chat, because I'll use it as an example because my brain is dead. But if you know what your goal is for the end of the year, put it in the chat. But so say,
why don't you use an example of your end of year goal? Why do you have to use somebody else's? You could say, my end of year goal is to reach this amount of money, or this many, or to rank up, or to have, I don't know, pour into somebody else and say, I'd love for blah, blah, blah to rank up. And then I want that for them, and I'm going to help them with that by the end of the year. So focus on your goal as an example, but of course using somebody else's, and then saying you should get your family to hold you accountable to that goal. Because obviously when you do bring your family involved, you would feel bad if you let them down. But then it's going to feel real bad when the structure is the one that lets you and them down. But of course, if people are unaware of that, then it's going to look like you let yourself down, you failed, and then your family, not saying your family would be disappointed in you, but they might be, and then that's even more pressure on you.
your goal is like, I want to earn a Christmas cash and a success bonus by the end of the year, right? I'm sure that's someone's goal, whether you're on the Zoom or not. I want to earn a Christmas cash and success bonus. Okay, well, first off, I want to ask you, how are you going to reward yourself for completing that goal? Because it can't just be, oh, I'm just going to be proud of myself. It's just going to be like a good, that's not going to do it for you. Okay. Yes, I know that money is going to be helpful for you, but you have to have something, even if it's like, I'm going to go get a back massage, or I'm going to go get my nails done, or I'm going to go to Target, buy whatever the heck I want because I can.
And then when you do that, you have to take a picture of it and you have to thank the MLM for allowing you to do all of this stuff. Why can't it just be that you're just proud of yourself for doing it? Because that is not something that you can use to manipulate other people and create that FOMO thing. You can't just say, I did this goal and I'm proud of myself. It's, look, I took myself to Target. Thank you, MLM, for allowing me to do this. There are two different things, and one makes the MLM look really good, and the other is just congratulating yourself for the hard work. But no, you always have to thank the MLM for allowing you the opportunity to go to Target, because you couldn't do that before the MLM. Thank you, MLM.
Literally, it has to be something. It doesn't have to be something big. I'm not saying, oh, I'm going to go.
Literally, it does not have to be anything. If you truly just want to be proud of yourself and that is good enough for you, then it's good enough for you.
Buy a Lamborghini, but something that will be like, okay, well, I'm excited to do that. If you've been on Zooms with me before, you heard me say this. Last year when I was doing these Christmas cash bonuses with a newborn, I told myself if I finish 3 Christmas caches, I was going to go buy a brand new washer and dryer because ours were old and crappy and burnt all of our clothes and I was sick of it. So that was my reward. And that kind of leads into my second thing, because that was mine and my husband's reward. He didn't get a choice in the matter. But like what I did with when I was going double, I don't remember what his was, but I told him like, hey, I'm going to be working more than you probably want me to. I'm going to be on my phone more than you probably want me to. I'm probably going to ignore you. I'm probably going to not realize you're talking to me. And it's not because I hate you or because I don't love you or I'm purposely ignoring you, but I'm trying to get this goal done. Here's what I'm trying to do. Here's what it's going to do for our family. What do you want when I accomplish that goal? Okay. You can also do that with your kids because it's a lot easier to say no to yourself and ignore your wants and your dreams for yourself. But if your kid, like you tell your kid, hey, when mommy hits this goal, I'm going to go buy you a remote control car or whatever. I don't even know what. Carter doesn't really want anything right now. He doesn't talk. So, but I'm sure kids get older, they want 8 million things plus a million more, right? So if you tell your kid, hey, if I do X, Y, and Z, we'll go to Disney World, right? Well, it's a lot easier to say no to yourself. But if your kid's like, hey, how's it going? Are we going to go to Disney World? That's going to keep you motivated.
Yeah. And it's going to put so much pressure on you because if you don't get the yeses that you want, you're not only going to feel like you let yourself down, now you feel even more guilt that you have let your kid down because you've voiced it to them that, hey, basically, if you leave me alone, then at X, point of time, we're going to go here. Well, if you don't hit that because you didn't get yeses, you're going to feel really, really bad, like worse than you did prior to even just like making this promise to yourself. That is why they want you to do this stuff. They want you to tell your kids or tell your partner, like, hey, if you basically let me ignore you for a very long time, then we can do all of these like big grand things. But if you don't get the yeses and you're putting in all this hard work each and every day, and then you get to your deadline point and you haven't achieved what you really thought that you could because people told you that you could, you're going to feel really, really bad. And it's going to feel worse than just being on yourself because you've now let your family down. And the upline's like, well, if you had just worked harder, then you would have done it, or you didn't do it right. You didn't follow the steps correctly. There's always something that the individual did, and it's gotta feel horrible.
That's going to keep you going more so than if you're like, well, it'd be nice to make some extra money, right? So figure out something that's going to tie you to these goals.
Tie you to the MLM. Got it. I'm reading through the lines of whenever they say goals or dreams or wants or whys, it's really what can tie you to the MLM that will make the upline more money.
And what I want to end with, and y'all, I wanted to make this Zoom really, really short because I know that there's a lot coming. There's a new, what can I say? There is something coming tomorrow, a big announcement. Please be on It Works' page because there's a lot. It's just, y'all are going to die. Okay.
Just share it with them. They're a part of the company too. Why are you being all secretive? Because you're higher up, you know more information than them? Share it with them. They are a part of the company. They deserve to know before the customers. But no, distributors and customers all get to know at the same time because, as we know, the distributors are the customers.
I know it's coming, and they're wonderful and it's great. But what was I saying with that? I was talking something about goals. What I want to ask you, and I ask this all the time. If you're on my team, you know I've said this before, but so these goals that you have, it's going to be, you're going to have days that you feel like you can't do it. You're going to have days that you feel like all your effort is for no reason. You're going to have days where you're like, oh, if I could only have the network that my upline has and get the comments that my upline does, I'd have no problem hitting my goals, right? Or if I just could look like this person, or if I could talk like this person, or if I was confident enough to do what this person does, whatever.
Yeah, the constant comparison in MLMs of the individual looking at their upline or their upline's upline and seeing just this beautiful life that they live, the comparison must be really hard. Because I know for me, it would be like, I feel like I'm doing everything that they're doing. I'm following all the steps. I'm posting daily. I'm sharing daily. And I'm not getting the same amount of interaction that either they told me I would or I personally feel like I should be based off of my effort. And I'd be like, clearly I am doing something wrong because I am not that person. I'm not as good as them. I don't speak like them. Like the comparison would, I think, cause a lot of people to compare and feel really down about themselves, and I just can only assume that that happens a lot in MLMs. And it's sad because a lot of these people who are in the 1% of these MLMs usually got in at the beginning, or they had a huge network of people that they could sell and recruit to, or they started, you know, a different MLM and then they moved to a new MLM and brought their whole downline with them, so it boosted them up quickly. You don't know the circumstance of why they are in the position that they are in, and they will always just say, oh, it's because of my hard work and my dedication, my love for the product. When the individual, like a lower ranked distributor, somebody who just got in, is like, well, I love the product and I have dedication and I'm working hard, but I'm getting nowhere. And that's because the structure is built that way. The structure doesn't want everybody to succeed. They want people to constantly just believe that they can succeed and drink the Kool-Aid essentially and stay in and constantly be buying the new products and hype for the new products and showing those off on Instagram and using them daily and just investing all of their money into the MLM and staying in with a hope and a dream. So yeah, the comparison aspect must be really hard for a lot of people.
Right? You're going to have days that you try to talk yourself out of your goal and tell yourself that you can't do it, that you're not worth it, that it's not going to come together.
Well, I don't think it's talking yourself out of the goal. I think it's having a real conversation with yourself that I am putting a lot of effort into this and I'm seeing nothing in return. Is this worth my time? Which I think is a completely reasonable, realistic thing to think. But of course, for uplines, that is a dangerous thought for their downline to have because that means that they lose out on money, which means that they could lose out on their rank. So they derank, which again is not the upline's fault if somebody decides to leave, but yet it is still somehow their fault for deranking. It's always the individual's fault, no matter what.
I want to ask you right now, are you 100% sure? Because when I thought about this, I don't know if I was the first one to think of this. I obviously probably wasn't, but when I tried to tell myself that I couldn't hit a goal that I wanted, my next thought was, are you positive you can't hit it? Do you know without a shadow of a doubt that you can't hit the goal? And the answer is no.
Of course not. I mean, that goes with anything. Do I know without a shadow of a doubt that I could just sprout wings right now and fly? No. I mean, I'm pretty certain I can't, but I guess I can't say 100% because nothing is 100% like sure, I guess. But like, I mean, obviously that's a very abstract, like ridiculous comment that I just made. But it's like, yeah, when it comes to anything in life, like, am I 100%, like, without a shadow of a doubt, certain that it will not work out for me? I could never say no to that, but that's also a very manipulative way of convincing people to stay within the MLM and not question their doubts when they are reasonable doubts to have when they are not making any money in this business.
Because you've never done what you're doing right now in this season for this goal, right? You've never had this network at this time with these products, with this business, with this bonus, with all the things, right? So the answer is no, you don't know for sure whether you can hit it or not, but it's a 50-50 shot, man. Like, you don't know. Can you for sure hit it? I don't know. Are you for sure going to fail? I don't know. But in my head and in your heart, you should know it's going to be a lot better if you give it your all, tilt the scale a little bit towards getting it, towards hitting that goal, towards getting that bonus, towards making that money. Because worst case scenario, you guys, even if, so say your goal is Christmas cash, say that's what you're going for, but say you miss it a little bit. Well, if you do 2 tier 1s and 3 tier 2s, guess what? That's still like $1,200. Hello, $1,200 before Christmas time is still a heck of a lot of money, right? $1,200 before Christmas time. I bet you right now, if you go and ask your boss, hey, if I work an hour a day, can I have a $1,200 Christmas cash bonus? They're going to be like, no, like, absolutely not. What do you mean? No, you get paid. That's what you get. There's so much money here. So it doesn't matter. You guys, the goals matter, but what matters more is your daily consistent effort to make that goal happen. And if you're at a point where you're like, I'm willing to do the things, but I don't know what to do, or I feel like I've been doing all the right things, but nothing's coming from it, reach out to your upline and say, hey, can you help me? Here's my goal. Here's what I want to do. Here's why I want to do it. Here's what I've been doing. What else can I do? What can I fix? Because at the end of the day, at the end of the year, at 6 months from now, a year from now, you're going to look back and either you're going to have hit your goal or you're not. That's it. Those are the only options. Either you hit it or you didn't. So I want you to think of that. And I want you to ask yourself right now, are you willing to do all the things to make that goal happen? And if the answer is no, the goal is not right. The goal is not deep enough. You don't know why you want to do that. Because if your goal is just, oh, I want to do Christmas cash to make some extra money, that doesn't do anything for you. But if it's like, hey, I want to do Christmas cash because I want to take that $3,000, I want to put $500 towards my kid's Christmas so I can get him this thing that he's wanted for a while. And then I'm going to take the other $1,500 and I'm going to pay next month's rent. So I'm ahead of it. And then I'm going to take that other $1,000 and I'm going to put it in savings so that when something happens, I don't need to go get a credit card or a personal loan. I just have that money there, right? Do you guys see the difference between, oh, I want extra money and like, this is what I'm doing with the money? You have to be tied to the goal. It has to pull you. Now, I hate when people say, oh, your why has to make you cry. Okay, well, I'm not a crier. My why has not ever made me cry, and it will never make me cry because that's not something I do unless I'm pregnant. Then I cry a lot. But besides that, it's not going to make me cry. It's never been a thing. I used to cry about my why, but it never was like oh, I figured out my why and I had this spiritual moment and I sobbed my eyes out. Okay, that never happened. But your why has to be enough and your goal has to be enough that when you wake up, you're like, I'm going to choose to put effort in today. I'm going to choose me today. I'm going to choose my goal today. That's what has to happen every single day. Okay. So I want you guys to get specific about your goal, figure out what you want to do and why. And then I want you to figure out an action plan. What are the daily steps that you need to do to get there? What are measurable things that you can check back a week from now? So whatever. So we have 7 weeks left till the end of the year. I don't even know, something like that. Maybe 8. What is that goal split in between 8 weeks? Right? So then at the end of the week, you're like, yep, I'm on track. No, I'm not. I got to fix some things. I want you to stay on top of this. I want you to stay on top of yourself to make these things happen. Okay. So I hope this was helpful. I'm going to do weekly Zooms like this every week for our team. And every week I'm going to do a different topic, whatever feels right, whatever feels like what's on my heart. So I hope this was helpful for you guys, and this will be up on my YouTube tonight. If you need anything, you know where to find me.
Bye, It Works lady. Did it seem like to anybody else that she was just doing this because this is just something that uplines do for downlines, and it was just kind of like a, I have to do this topic? Like, didn't she seem tired? That's how I saw it. And not saying that she's not allowed to be tired, but to say, like, I'm going to do these team calls each week with just a topic that it's whatever I want to talk about. And it's like, I get it. It's your team, and you can, of course, talk about whatever you want. But this whole thing was goals, and here's how you achieve it. Have family hold you accountable, have your upline. What did she say? She said, tell your upline about your goals and how you want to achieve it and how they can help you. No, that's a horrible idea. That's a lot of pressure on, certain uplines depending on the upline. And of course, a way for uplines to hold you to that. Now they have held you hostage with that goal to be like, well, remember, like, did you do this today because you said you were going to? Remember that goal that you want to remember, the Christmas presents that you want to buy your child. If you love your children, you would do this. Super manipulative. It's always just about the goals. Hold on to those. Always have those be as strong as possible so that on the hardest of hard days when you feel like you have gone nowhere and for like 4 weeks straight you have been doing everything you're supposed to and you've yet to get a yes from a sale or from a downline, in order for you to rank up to make this, money that you want to make, and you are not there yet. Still remember your why. You're doing it for that. So keep going strong. You may be 4 weeks out and you have gone nowhere, which is not your fault at all. It's because, you have so much competition around you, and especially if, like, your family is also in the MLM or your friends are in the MLM, then you're competing with your friends. Your customers become your competition in MLMs, which they don't seem to see it that way. They're like, no, you're just helping people create their financial future of amazingness and wonder and fairy tales. I don't know. In most businesses, turning your customers into your competition, not good. But in MLMs, turning your customers into competition / profiting off of your friends and family, that's a good thing. MLMs just have a bizarre structure, and it's only benefits the ones at the top, the ones in the less than 1%. They are the ones who are always thriving, have the perfect life on Instagram that people envy. People think that they can achieve it as well by just copying and doing all the things. But when they do and then they don't get the results, then it's the distributor's fault, never the structure's fault. Alright, you guys, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you really liked it, please subscribe. Also, let me know what you think about my background in the comments below. And until my next video, I will see you guys then. Bye!